better on the mat, but it's finally here.
It is indeed, and we will start at 125. Sean Speidel, a guy that's worked his way through injuries, and Tom Borelli has said he's just got much more confidence this year. He's healthy. He's going to get a tough matchup here. Conrad Hendrickson, he's the first-year transfer from Tennessee Chattanooga, and we're going to see what we get here at 125.
And you talked about with Speidel, confidence. It's going to be key. You see his knees, both knees heavily taped, but you look on the other side, Conrad Hendrickson. This is going to be a clash of styles. Hendrickson just about 5 foot, Speidel 5'5". So how do you get to your offense from a Central Michigan standpoint on that low center of gravity for the Oklahoma Sooner?
Yeah, two completely different body builds, right? You've got the long lankiness of Sean Speidel and the small in stature of Conrad Hendrickson, but he is strong. And here we go, 2023's wrestling season off here in Mount Pleasant. Speidel, the redshirt sophomore out of Lapeer, went to Flint Powers Catholic High School, was 12-15 last year. Again, he had arthroscopic knee surgery in December, still was able to wrestle, but a guy that obviously you think about that a little bit, just want to stay healthy when you're out there on the mat. And for Hendrickson, he didn't wrestle last year at Tennessee Chattanooga, but he was ranked the #1 wrestler in Texas, a 3-time state champ. And again, you look at his lower half strength and his build, a guy that's not going to be easy to take down.
And he's a guy that wants you to shoot, to use his go-behinds. That's where he's good. Stopping shots, spinning, getting behind. So you have to fake well, and you have to move laterally.
And on a shot is Speidel. He's trying to wrap and get the 2 and drive through for the takedown. Wraps him up, and there is the first takedown. It's not 2, it's 3 up on the board.
And he did a good job continuing to circle, got his hands locked, did not stop, and worked to that second leg. Initially shot the single, worked to a double, and picked up that first 3-point takedown.
Hendrickson gets the 1-point escape. The other new rule in terms of scoring is the back swipes. It's usually 2 or 4. They will count for a 3rd point. So 2, 3, or 4 back points can be earned if you're getting some swipes from the officials. We've got 2 officials here tonight, Eric McGill and Kevin Piggott. Heavy ties here in a 125 bout.
Speidel doing a good job staying patient here. Allowed the underhooks to come in, worked them out. More importantly, circled back to the center so he didn't get hit for stalling on that out-of-bounds line. Got back to the center, broke containment, cleared the ties, and now back to wrestling in the center.
And there's nowhere to run on this mat. This is one of the bigger mats. You can't just head out to the sides. You got to stick up there and wrestle right in the middle. Under 30 seconds to go in the opening period. This is what we talked about with Coach Borelli, the late point opportunities, again, to get an extra point this year with the 3-point takedown. 10 seconds to go. So the takedown and the escape, the 4 points we get after 3 minutes.
Solid first period. Worked out the cobwebs. You have to think, for these guys to be off since March and thinking about this moment, and now it's finally here, nerves have to come into play. But Speidel did a good job putting them in his back pocket, getting to his offense.
And you were a former 125er yourself. I mean, what is it like to start a match like this, especially at the beginning of the year?
Some guys welcome it. Other guys shy away from it. But for me, that was the biggest thing. I knew that if I got off to a hot start, then it would ultimately motivate the team, and that was what was important to me. So I used it as a motivating factor within.
Kind of a trickle-down effect here. Speidel to his feet, but he can't break the grasps. And a nice breakdown of Hendrickson. He's trying to keep that toe drag in. And now they go off the mat, and we'll reset in the middle here. But Good strength here up top for Hendrickson. Speidel again gets to his feet. And off they go again, so we'll reset. So same type of thing we just saw here, 1:15 to go.
And the keys for both of those is he's not fighting a hand. Speidel has to come up with the intention to fight one wrist. Start to work to clear a hip.
This time again, gets right back up. Good pressure by Hendrickson, but Speidel breaks it free. So a 4-1 lead for the Chippewa, and now we go back to the neutral position. Haven't seen a ton of shots from Hendrickson here. Is he a little bit more aggressive in this second period?
And this is what Speidel can't allow Hendrickson to do, is be north-south. He has to work to get to an angle, create an angle, get to a side, because this is working towards, oh, beautiful shot.
Trying to go in there at the edge of the mat, so they will reset. As you let him push the tempo out, you're going to potentially get hit with a stalling warning.
And it doesn't, that's one of those stats that don't show up on paper, but I'll tell you what it does, is it gets the referee on Speidel's side.
Final 30 seconds of this second period. Speidel with that takedown. Here's the first opportunity. A little go behind there. And now a leg in for Hendrickson. This is the long build of Speidel, though. 13 seconds to go. Looking for a late score and to tie this game, this match up.
And as long as he keeps that below the ankle, he should be good with this whizzer that he has on the left side.
And that's it. Speidel with those long legs able to keep that away and defends it off as the official gives us the signal. So it stays 4-1, 2 minutes to go.
Starting to see a little blood on the singlet of Hendrickson. It looks like 2 spots that he has.
Wrestling, it's a contact sport, Eric. First time we've seen Hendrickson down here outside of that takedown that he was able to get up from Speidel's grasp in that first period. Riding time not a factor right now. Good Granby roll there, but Speidel stays on top, and now they're off. Wow, great energy from these two to open this match. They are battling tough right now with just over 90 seconds to go. What's the strategy here, Eric, if you're Hendrickson? You're down by 3, just over a minute and a half left. How do you change the complexion and get back into this match?
Well, riding time is not a factor, so the most important thing is initially to block off on that left side. You see he's starting to come up to try and clear that left side, and he does it and picks up the 1-point escape. And now, once again, north-south, get to your offense, get to your shot. But when you get to that single leg, you have to shelf it on your opposite hip as quick as possible. He was slow to shelf it.
And we see a stalling warning called right there. And that goes against Speidel, so that's what we talked about. Hendrickson driving it forward. So one more of those, and it'd be a point for Hendrickson. There's a shot for Speidel.
And this is what Coach Borelli talked about. This is where Speidel does not need to be. He does not need to be getting stuck underneath Hendrickson with these shots that are ill-advised. He needs to continue to work on his feet, get to his tie. And this is dangerous.
And Hendrickson trying to get a turn here, and he's got Speidel nearly on his back. And now the back swipes are on. This match turning in the favor of Hendrickson. 30 seconds to go. It's a strong grasp from the 125-pounder for the Sooners. And he is now up by 4. .15 seconds to go. And gets back on top. Wow, what a swing here late.
Did a good job of getting to the corner, tucked his head, locked the cradle, was patient in looking for the back points.
And that's going to do it. What a win for Hendrickson. It's an early takedown for Speidel, but it just looked like he ran out of gas there. So Oklahoma up on the board first. They lead 3-0 as we'll head to a break. 2023 wrestling season, Oklahoma, Central Michigan. It looked like the Chippewas were going to steal the first bout, and in fact, it was the Sooners. Hendrickson, what a finish. And 3 up on the board for Oklahoma as we go to 133. Jace Kalzer, the 133-pounder and redshirt senior from Kansas, the transfer from Northern Colorado. And on the other side, it's Vince Perez, the redshirt senior from Adrian, Michigan.
Kelzer already in deep on a shot, has it shelved up to his armpit, looking to trip. Perez doing a good job bouncing on that left foot. And this is where you have to stay in the center. Focus on bringing your heels back to the center of the mat so you don't run out of real estate.
Good patience. Kelzer gets the takedown. And the coaches over there saying 2. They're going to have to get used to it, too, as the officials will and we will. 3 points up on the board for Kelzer. Good domination right now by Jace Kelzer, 14-8 last year. He was a qualifier for the NCAAs in 2022, finished 6th at those 2022 Big 12 championships as Perez gets on the board with the escape. A lot of energy in this building right off the top, but give Oklahoma credit after that come-from-behind win from Hendrickson. I think it kind of stunned the Chippewa crowd here.
That was a really important one. That was one they needed, especially when you look at the back half of this Oklahoma lineup. They needed to steal one at 133, or excuse me, 125, 133, or 141. And it just played into exactly what Coach Borelli said could not happen. You can't get stuck underneath a guy like Hendrickson, and that's exactly what Speidel did.
Perez trying to flatten out here and avoid this single leg shot. 40 seconds to go in period 1. And we'll get a reset. Perez finished 6th at the max last year. He was 8th in 2022. Coach Borelli liked the way that he finished last season. But here's another takedown, and Kelzer has 6 up on the board. And off the mat they go. So the Sooners looking to jump out to a 2-0 lead here and potentially push this to a 6-0 or maybe a major decision, 7-0 lead. And it looks like we get a little blood timeout here for Kelzer as they go back to their sides. There you go. Get the double stuffed up nostrils. That's got to feel great.
It's not coming out.
Jam it up there and get them back out there. How about the job, though, for Roger Kish taking over here for Oklahoma, building the program, adding a couple of transfers, and this is one of them. And he's got the Big 12 roots. I mean, he's right coming from that conference at North Dakota State, built them up, and now moves to Norman with the Oklahoma Sooners.
And when you heard about Coach Lou Roselli leaving the program at Oklahoma, you wondered who was going to take over as a head coach. And I'll tell you what, not a lot of people would have guessed Roger Kish, but he ultimately ended up taking the head coaching job, and I think it's a great move. You saw what he was able to do at North Dakota State University, built them into a powerhouse in the Big 12, All-Americans year after year, And I'm sure you're going to see that same exact success in Norman.
Yeah, 9 All-Americans, 21 NCAA qualifiers. I mean, their last 5 years, a 48-20 record, just kept them getting better and better, and now moves to Oklahoma as we get the escape point. Coles are in front 7-1. And the Sooners off to a great start on the road here in Mount Pleasant.
It's got to be tough in Oklahoma to recruit against Oklahoma State, and you hear about Oklahoma State building a brand new facility. So I'm sure Oklahoma at some point is going to have to try to compete in state. You think about Cale Sanderson leaving Iowa State to go to Penn State, and one of the main reasons he knew he couldn't compete in Iowa against the Hawkeyes on the recruiting trail. But I think there's a different sense coming from Roger Kish and his ability to win that state. Wouldn't that be something big when you think Coleman Scott left UNC to go to Oklahoma State, so John Smith, his tenure has to be coming to an end at some point. So those two coaches, you're going to have young coaches in Coleman Scott with the potential to take over that head coaching job, and Roger Kish. Oklahoma wrestling is in a good spot.
Yes, indeed, and they're in a good spot here in their first duel. Another takedown for Kelzer to make it 10-1. Up to a major decision possibility here, and maybe looking for more, as we still got another period to go. And now looking for some back swipes, and they're on. There's 2, there's 3, make it 4. So a 14-1 lead. What a dominating second period right there from the redshirt senior, Jace Kelzer. And the Sooners continue to pour it on. They got 3 up on the board right now, sitting with 4, and you get a couple more points here. One more takedown. This is a tech fall.
That would be big. Steal one at 25 and then pick up a tech fall at 133. That's not what you wanted for Coach Borelli and company.
Anybody that knows wrestling, too, knows that Oklahoma coming up to Central Michigan is no easy victory. You're coming into a wrestling powerhouse that has been built up by Tom Borelli. It's been one of the better programs up here in Mount Pleasant for 3 decades simply because of the stability. And they've had some changes within the MAC and teams that have come out and come back. And this program has always been here. And the Sooners right now, they're in command. Perez trying to get to his feet, but not having much success. See the strength here of Kelzer as he breaks him back down.
Working on that crab ride on that left side. But Perez doing a good job blocking off on that right now, coming up, building his base.
Kelzer just kind of elects to let him go. He's going to try and go after the takedown here and end this thing. Looking for a tech fall. Perez doing everything he can here to fight. Kelzer, top 25 in the country coming in, the transfer. And the NCAA qualifier, he's a 2-time state champion on the leg here and looking to finish it off. And there it is, a tech fall win. Domination from Jace Kelzer. And it's a 7-0 lead for the Sooners through 2 bouts. So an impressive beginning to this one here for the Sooners. And we'll come back. 141 coming up next. Off we go right away at 141. Jakarian Merritt, the redshirt junior for Central Michigan, and Moshe Schwartz, a senior out of Franktown, Colorado. Another Northern Colorado transfer in this lineup, back-to-back for the Sooners.
Picking up those transfers, that's big. You think about what Coach Borelli said, which is pretty interesting. These Power 5 schools have the opportunity to get these get those NIL deals done, and he doesn't have that luxury. So what he has to do is develop these kids into men, and that's exactly what he's doing. And we talked about this position in particular with Coach Borelli getting to that overhook and getting to that underhook. And Merritt, Coach Borelli said, if he can get his hands locked, there's the potential that Schwartz will go to his back.
And right now they're battling. We already saw the potential inside trip before we got back here from Merritt. And it was fended, or rather from Schwartz, fended off by Merritt. They're dancing around at the edge of the mat. Merritt, one of the strongest wrestlers on this Central Michigan team. And Schwartz had a great year last year, 22-6. But Merritt now with the leg gets the kick down and the 2. Make it 3. And a big time return there for Merritt. He's got this crowd fired up. Good work here by Merritt, dragging that toe to keep him on the mat, and now they'll reset. But you talk about re-energizing this crowd. The redshirt junior has done that.
And now he has to collect himself. This is where you run into, you're wrestling one of the top 20 kids in the country. You go up 3-0 early. You have to collect your thoughts. You have to slow this match down. I was here at one point with Charlie Falk. He was ranked top 5 in the country, came out, got a takedown, turned him, cut him, took him down again, and ended up giving up 15 points. Just completely lost it from a mental standpoint. You hear the crowd getting into it. Gas tank became an issue, but for Merritt, still early in this match, continue to focus on collecting one takedown at a time, but it's still big, that 3-point takedown. Still interesting to see. How is this going to play out throughout the year? Because it's ultimately, it's a game, right? At the end of the day, that's what this is. It's a game, so how are you going to game the system? And we're going to see some scenarios that we never thought of where the 3-point takedown came into play. And I was thinking at 125. When you look, if Speidel got another takedown, he ties it. But historically, if he got a takedown, he would still be down by 1 point. With that 3, it was 8-5. So then it sends it into overtime.
Just a different strategy that can be used now with the 3 points rather than the 2. And yeah, it is really going to be interesting to see how it comes into play this year, because ever since folk style wrestling has been a thing collegiately, it's been 2 points, it's not been 3. And that really plays to the talented wrestlers. If you can go and get takedowns and be aggressive, you can see some more bonus point victories potentially. Some separation. See the strength of Merritt and another mat return. Great roll to get out of there, though, and Schwartz has his 2nd point.
Granby roll to the left shoulder. More importantly, 56 seconds on the riding time clock, so he stopped it before a minute.
I like the patience and the non-panic vibe from Schwartz. He's not in front. He doesn't have a takedown, but he doesn't look concerned. He looks like he's a redshirt, or a senior rather, that's been here before.
But this is a guy that Coach Borelli said, when you see him in the room versus on the mat, it's 2 different wrestlers. He's a monster in the room, but he tends to shut down. If we could just get the Merritt that wrestles in the room to wrestle out here, the world would be shocked. I mean, this is I'm guessing what Coach Borelli was talking about.
They're hoping to unleash him this year. Want to see it translate from the wrestling room out here to the bright lights. And now an opportunity here on a takedown, and there it is, the first of the match for Moshe Schwartz.
He's going to have to stay tucked on this left side. Schwartz is going to throw that leg in. That boot comes with that knee pad side on that left side, the black knee pad, and you see it slowly creeping up to that left hip. So Merritt has to do a good job here of keeping his hips tight, knees tight. Try not to let that boot come in.
And that's exactly what Schwartz is going for right now, to lock that up.
And look at the pressure on that left hip. Look how it's broken down. Textbook leg riding right there. Figure 4 on that left side. High hips in. His back is arched. His chin is up to the ceiling.
Well done there at the end of the period for Schwartz. Gets the takedown. His first, goes in front. And now Merritt is going to have to work on his feet again to get back into this one. Oklahoma in front 8-0 with the Tech fall. And they're looking for another win to push this lead to 11-0 potentially. There's a double leg here and another takedown from Schwartz.
And he caught that left leg coming in. So the scouting report said, block off on that left side.
And there's the reversal. Now that's still 2 points this year. Not the 3 that you would expect with the takedown changing, so that makes it a 3-point match, 8-5. One minute to go, a 9-5 lead with the escape there for Schwartz. Crowd trying to get behind Merritt. Both guys tired here. 6 minutes deep, first match of the season.
He's got to put those track shoes on and start running. He needs 2 takedowns.
Takes a peek at the clock, 40 seconds to go. And right here, Schwartz is fine with this.
I liked how he was moving his feet from the open ties, and now he's just getting back to these ties, and all it's doing is slowing him down. Look at those fakes right there. They're beautiful.
Tie-ups up here, not what you want if you're Merritt. 15 seconds to go. Again, Schwartz looking like he's in a good spot here. And the Sooners are going to get a 3rd straight victory to open their first match of the season up here in Mount Pleasant. What a start for Oklahoma to make it 11-0. Night, 1:49 coming up, and so far the Sooners, wow, what a start for Oklahoma to make the trip up here from Norman. And they have silenced this Central Michigan crowd that's trying to provide some energy, but the Sooners dominating on the mat.
Central's been coming out hot in the first period, picking up takedowns, but it's been second and third period returns for the Oklahoma Sooners that have really been giving the Central Michigan Chippewas trouble.
Yeah, they've been tough late in the second and those third periods to close it out. That's been the difference. Here we go at 1:49. For the Sooners, it's Willie McDougald, a redshirt junior out of Niagara Falls, New Jersey, 2-time New York State champ. Second year in the lineup for the Sooners. On the other side, Corbin Munson, one of the leaders for this Central Michigan team, 26 victories a season ago. I mean, if you're Tom Borelli and CMU, even this being a tough matchup, you got to be thinking we have to have this one if we have any chance to get back in this match. Because this is the strength of the Chippewa lineup right through the middle. 149, 157, 165, and 174, their best guys. Munson, a graduate that extended his option to come back this year, a 2-time NCAA qualifier last year and in 2022. And he was disappointed with his finish at the Max last year, the number 1 seed going in, and he finished 5th. And the Chippewas lost that MAC championship by just 2.5 points. Off the mat they go. You can get in a leg on Munson, but then he flattens out and uses that length, and it is difficult to wrap him up.
He's flexible. We just saw that there. About to give up a cradle. What I like to see there is he knew exactly where he was, how much real estate was left, hung on to that right hand of McDougald, did not allow him to lock that cradle up, circled out of bounds, shot McDougald out, didn't get the stall call. A lot of the fans behind us were asking for it. Referees didn't feel the same.
They're always asking for something, aren't they? got to love the passion of the wrestling community, and it's great to have it back here in 2023. And an awesome duel to open things up. In on the single here, McDougald trying to get the kick down. No takedown awarded yet. And off the mat they go. This is going to be a challenge brick coming up. And there it is from Roger Kish. Certainly looked like there was a potential takedown there. What do you think?
I'm going to give it 2. I think he was clearly behind him.
Behind him and returned him, and did he have control? It certainly looked like it from what we just watched. Here it is one more time. So that was them off the mat there. So wouldn't get it there. But it was right before that where he locked him up and took him down, and that's when the Oklahoma bench said that should be a takedown, should be 3 points up on the board, and Roger Kish, first-year head coach, throwing out the challenge flag. Or the challenge brick, I should say. Right there. Is that enough, Eric, where it should be a takedown?
I think it is. Now, if you're talking about a Granby roll from the top position, there is no reaction time, so automatic when the hand touches, you're going to go 2. And I think about this situation when you look back to, in particular, it was Michigan State last year. As we see it again, that left trip comes down.
Wow, no takedown.
No takedown. As it was Cam Amin versus Fish, Caleb Fish for Michigan State in the Michigan State-Michigan duel, and they called that too. It was originally called off, and then they reviewed it. Same situation, different outcome.
That's how difficult wrestling is. There's these situations, and the officials trying to do their best out there. They keep it 0-0 here in what has been an entertaining but scoreless first period. Couple seconds to go. So no points. Best opportunity certainly coming there from McDougald. McDougald, such a storied high school run for him. Two-time state champ in 2020 and 2018. 243 wins at Niagara Falls High School, which is a school record. You can see the strength from him on top. Locked into that left leg.
And he continues to circle towards his right. And what's important here is look at that right toe just continuing to dig in. And what that's doing is allowing his hips to go in and Corbin Munson's hips to go down.
Munson freed his leg, but now trying to work his way up with the big body here and slide his way through. And there he does so. So there's the first point. It's an escape for Munson. Worked out of that figure 4 and got free. Fourth bout, and this is a must-get for Central Michigan, but this is a tight one. And what we've seen as we started talking about to open up this bout, Oklahoma has been the better team in the second and third periods. This is when they've got those takedowns, and they've looked like they're a little bit more energized in the later parts of the match.
And Munson just has to get in on the legs of McDougald.
He takes the shot. McDougald looking for a counter. Good battle here.
Just in watching McDougald wrestle, in particular against Yanni Diak-Mahalis, the biggest problem that he had was on his initial shot defense. When he sprawled, his hips continued to go forward rather than go back. And for me, it was important for Munson just to get in on a shot to see how his hips react for McDougald, but he can't even get past the head-hands defense.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet. He's tried. Munson this year moving back to 149. He was a little bit too small for 157. Originally had that great breakout year at 149 a couple of seasons ago. That was that 26-9 year. He was 11-4 in duels. And then even so, he was still top ranked heading into the tournament last year, but Coach Borelli said this is where he is at his best at 149. He leads 1-0, but now McDougal has the opportunity to get the point back, and he does. So we will go neutral for just under 2 minutes to see who is going to win this match.
They're so light on their feet, both of them. Munson has to circle back into the center, get his heels off the out-of-bounds line, because this is dangerous. In a close match, action called. Good call.
And this, again, is where we've said it. Oklahoma has looked like the aggressor in the third periods, where the Chippewas have been huffing and puffing a little bit.
And don't forget, we're going to see a lot of these guys at the Michigan State Open this weekend as well.
Here's a shot here, in on the leg again. This is where Munson thrives in the scramble positions. Can he work his way out of another one?
McDougal does have that right leg hooked down underneath. And Munson doing a good job of just spider crawling, trying to stay on that back.
And there's the stalemate. The fans wanted it. They get the call, and we're going to reset. Would that be considered as funky?
That is funky right there.
And
I think he had his right leg hooked underneath with his left leg over the top of his head while hanging on his back with both hands circled around his belly button.
Wrestling, man. We love it. We got 30 seconds, neutral position to see if we get any scoring in that first takedown that could win this match, or potentially we're off to sudden victory. Here's a shot for Munson, and the wraparound, he's got the three. So the first time we've seen a late third period score from the Chippewas. 10 seconds to go. Munson was patient and finally got in a leg.
And look at this crowd. Did what he had to, perfectly timed takedown, picked his spot, didn't show his cards too early, waited for the right time, and struck at the exact moment that he needed to. There's a caution on top.
So Munson picks up that first caution, and two more, and then a point would go up.
And no stall calls for Munson, so he can go low. Drop below, that's fine.
So there's the escape. And Munson, can roll around, and they're off the mat. Wow. And that's the match. So an entertaining finish. Corbin Munson hangs on and gets the Chippewas. You see them get on the board, and then Johnny Lovett, one of their two returning MAC champs, and he has just turned himself into an incredible wrestler. He started wrestling late in high school, pure athleticism, and boy, he just will attack and go right at his opponent.
And he's in the best headspace that he's been in since he's been a freshman. And that's what Coach Borelli said earlier today, is he's wrestling on another level, and it comes from the confidence that he has in his training that he's done throughout the offseason.
He's a guy that will push the tempo. John Wiley is the sophomore opponent that he faces out of Mustang, Oklahoma. He's a two-time Oklahoma State champ and a two-time Fargo champ as well. He was 4-6 last season. Everybody competing in their first match here in 2023. And then again, as Eric, we've talked about, off to the Michigan State Open. Keep it right in here in state. And that'll be coming up in just a couple of days.
Nothing like making weight.
That's right.
A few days after wrestling in a duel.
The shot from Lovett, and there the kick down and the two. He is so strong and powerful. And he gets the three up on the board.
When underhook throw by, got to a single, continued to work to the hip. And look at this, beautiful. It was all predicated on that trip. That back foot came.
The three-point thing is still weird for me.
Yeah,
I just can't quite. It's going to take a couple of matches. Quick escape there for Wiley to get up on the board. Again, it plays to the offense, right? So if you're going to continue to attack and continue to get takedowns, you're going to separate yourself even more. Love it going in, riding up top here, and spinning around just so fast. 6-1.
And same thing I said earlier. You have to make sure that the gas tank, you don't push the gas too much early in this first period. Conserve your energy, wrestle smart. You have a 5-point lead. That's what Coach Borelli is saying. Ride tough here. You have 1 minute left, 34 seconds on the riding time clock. Let's get out of this period unscathed, take the 5-point lead into the second period, have choice, figure out what we want to do from there.
And he said it, too, about Lovett, that a lot of the MAC opponents tried to attack him late and thought that he would get too worn down, but he used the word grit. He said Johnny's got a lot of grit, and he found a way to go right through the MAC competition to get his first MAC championship. A guy that has continued to get better and better. 2021, he was third at the MAC championships. 2022, he was second. And last year, of course, he was top on the podium.
I like that. What Borelli said. He said he's such a phenomenal athlete that most people feel they have to get him tired to beat him, but he has more grit than you think he does.
And he's showing that with 3 takedowns. 9-2 lead. 15 seconds to go. A stalling warning given to Lovett.
What are you going to do? You're on the out-of-bounds line near the Oklahoma coaching staff. They're in the ears of the officials.
That's
saying
right.
Stalling. Not saying it's right, but wow.
Yeah. That's a mat return right there. So off to period 2 after those 3 minutes of fireworks.
He's good. He's scary good. That power, 57 is the right weight class for him.
Mm-hmm. Coach Borelli said it last year that he got about halfway through the season at 149, and it just was not the right weight for him, struggling to cut it down, and they switched Munson and Lovett, and then they switched them right back, and they feel good about the positions they're in starting here in 2023 at 49 and 57.
Yeah, you have to be, especially seeing what Corbin Munson just did, but just adds another element to it. You have, wrestling is so unique because you have the travel, you have the cutting weight, so it's not just mental, it's physical. When you're cutting weight, it takes a toll on you mentally, so you're not having fun. You're focused more on cutting the weight than you are actually the wrestling that has to get done, and it just makes it a job rather than the passion that you have. That's why you're here, is because you have a passion for the sport, but it just takes that passion away.
And these two guys passionate out there on the mat here trying to get going. If you're Wiley, Eric, what can you do to get back into this match and try and get that first takedown and build some confidence?
Clear the ties first. Oh, looks like a mouthpiece came out.
Not sure what happened there. Mouthpiece fell out, and there.
A hand?
Is there a jam of a finger, perhaps?
And now Lovett's already been called for the injury time, so it's going to be Wiley's choice. So Wiley's going to choose the bottom position. And if I'm Lovett, I'm taking a little more time.
Yeah, the injury timeout. Yep, take your time. Make sure you're right. Coach Kish over there said, let's get them rolling. Let's get moving. And a stalling call given to Johnny Lovett. So now again, this is what we've seen from the Sooners. They've come out, maybe not racked up the points in the first periods, but then they fight tough in period 2 and seem to be building confidence and momentum as we head to period 3.
And look at the feet of these guys. Who's controlling the mat area at this point? Right now it's Wiley. So Lovett has to make sure that he's staying right on the center of the mat. The red, the green lines, the starting lines. Work to his offense from here. He's already been hit for stalling, you mentioned it. Last thing you want is to give up one of those cheap points.
I haven't seen Wiley be able to get in and get a good opportunity at a takedown through 2 periods. Will it change in period 3? 2 minutes to go here. So now Lovett will go down and look for an escape point. Central Michigan fans watch on, hoping that Lovett pulls through here to get them their second victory of the night.
And the first thing Borelli said to Lovett was, look at the riding time. You have 21 seconds. You have to get out.
And there he does. 1:04 up on the clock. And now goes right in for the shot and the takedown. And looking for more. Good rollover by Wiley to avoid anything more. As quick as that.
And I wouldn't even waste my time on top if I'm Johnny Lovett. I'm getting right back to my offense. I'm letting Wiley go, which is what I think he's going to do, and get back right to that double. Hasn't been able to clear that underhook on that left side. Come right side collar tie, left side underhook, right back to your double.
And that double is so explosive. We've seen it for a few years here. Remember, Lovett does have a stalling already called against him.
Oh, you got to be careful here.
And there they call it potentially dangerous. Johnny Lovett upset over there on the edge of the mat. Back we go, though, 50 seconds. Again, trying to get in on a leg here is Lovett. And it just brute strength. Wow.
My gosh. I'll tell you, Wiley is going to be hurting tomorrow. We may not see him at the Michigan State Open.
A man-sized move right there from Lovett to get another takedown.
There goes another stall call.
Yep, gotta be. And there it is. So Lovett gives up another one. 19 seconds to go.
Oh,
right
timing.
off the whistle. Trying to go up and under and flip around here. Potentially dangerous is called. 5 seconds to go. These two ready to get after it here with 5 seconds to go.
I'd like to see the referee step back here. There's no reason he needs to be on that center circle. He does not need to be there.
There he gets out of the way. 5 seconds to go. Physical wrap up there. Lovett with the strength and power. And he is amped up. We'll be right back. Chippewas back into it, down by 4. And he said, Tom, you can step away anytime. You've won enough championships. You've impacted enough young men that they're now spread out, and there's 10 plus that are coaching. What is bringing you back? And he said, I want this program to be at the top when I leave it. Not happy with the last few years. 4 straight second-place finishes for Central Michigan at the MAC championships. He wants to get them back on top.
And that's why I said I think Central Michigan has a great shot to do it, because Coach Borelli would not be here if he didn't feel that himself.
And his wrestlers love him, and they have won the last 2 matches. Now we move to 165, though. It's Cale Carlson, the redshirt senior from Minnesota. He was 10-7 last year in the Oklahoma singlet. The other side for Central Michigan, it's Tracy Hubbard, the graduate from Macomb. 17-16 last year. Finished 5th at the MAC championships.
Loved what Coach Borelli said about Hubbard. He said he's an athlete that is wrestling. If you were to say to him a few years ago, level change and take a penetration step, he'd say, what are you talking about, Coach? Just because he loves wrestling, but he wasn't naturally a wrestler. He was an athlete that wrestled, is how Coach Borelli explained it.
He's very similar to Johnny Lovett, who we just saw, in terms of he played football until high school and then switched over, became a wrestler. And he has tremendously improved on his technique, and that's part of it, because so many of these guys wrestling that niche sport you grow up with, and it seems like you either grow up with it and you're doing it all the time, or you're not. You got to pick one or the other. So to see that some of these D1 guys didn't start till high school is so impressive. Carlson in on a leg here, looking for the first takedown for the Sooners here at 165. Trying to get Hubbard down. The drag, beautifully done for 3. Just doesn't sound right,
Just does not sound right. You see Carlson up here, brings it up to his shoulder. Now switches off to a double. Stays low, gets to the shoelaces, and picks up the 3-point takedown.
And if you're Oklahoma right now, just as we were talking with Central Michigan, they needed to get a match and they get 2. The Sooners are thinking, we got to get the momentum back and need to get back on the win column.
And they head into the strong point of their lineup down here, looking at 74, 84, 97 in heavyweight. So they're favored on paper, but that's why we're here tonight.
That's right.
Get rid of the paper. Let's wrestle these matches.
Just throw it away. You don't need it. Hubbard does get the escape to make it 3-1 here.
What's going on with the boots for Cale Carlson? Look like custom.
The camo?
But there's something on the ankles as well. Oh.
And Tracy Hubbard down on the mat. And going to get peeked at. They called injury time here. All right, good news. Tracy Hubbard has come back out, and it looks like we're going to continue wrestling here at 174. The 2 heads collided, and it looked like pretty disastrous there, but great to see that Hubbard's back out there and Carlson's back out there, and we can continue this match.
Fresh start. Now it completely changes the complexion of the match, because you think about it, that the first period is completely wiped out. He's wrestled all of 26 seconds now with a fresh break. This turns into a 2-period match, 4-minute match.
I mean, this match would probably almost already be done if we had continued after the break. Hubbard trying to push the tempo, and no takedown there for Carlson as he tried there late. So we're off to the second. Carlson got that early takedown with the toe drag on the edge. She leads 3-1 and now looking for an escape point as he starts down, or potentially a reversal. There is the escape given to him.
Trying to find that ankle pick on that left side. Has Hubbard's head buried down. And what I like to see here is his chin is right on the spine. So he's making sure that he's not to one side. doing a good job of controlling Tracy Hubbard's hips. Now Hubbard has to get, you see how he's getting to his ties here, and all of his shots come from an open position. But what's happening is Carlson is making sure that he can't get through that head-hands defense first to get to those hips.
Hubbard trying to take a shot, but he's found no advantage yet against Carlson. The redshirt senior been tough.
Look at the distance for these shots here that are coming. It's like a boxer with the jab. You have to make sure that you feel it first.
Mm-hmm.
And Hubbard's just a little too far away. Has to close that distance.
Carlson, the transfer from Minnesota that comes over in his first year. He spent 4 years as a Golden Gopher and kind of following the path of his head coach, Roger Kish, out of Minnesota. Graduated from there in 2008. A two-time All-American and an NCAA runner-up with the Golden Gophers. What a prestigious program they are up there in Minneapolis. Nice double leg here. And a takedown for Carlson, his second of the match.
And Tracy tried to go chest wrap, but Carlson did a good job of making sure that he stayed low, kept his center of gravity as low as he could, and picked up another three-point takedown, and that's big. You look, 25 seconds left in the second period, giving up a takedown. I was just going to say before that, it's important that Hubbard gets out of this period without giving up another takedown. Kale Carlson beat me to it.
Yeah, too late. Next time. Carlson just too fast out there. He's been good. And again, even in the kind of awkward circumstance where he had to wait, and that's part of it. You can't control when an injury or something like that happens, and he's come right back out. Granby roll attempts from Hubbard. Just too much. The strength on display from Carlson and an impressive second period. These Sooners putting on a show here tonight in Mount Pleasant.
Looking like they're in mid-season form.
It doesn't seem like this is the first match of the season. I mean, they've come out, look like they have gotten themselves prepared and then some in their wrestling room down there in Norman under first-year head coach Brandon Kish. He's excited to be back here in the state of Michigan where he grew up. And his first duel, his first year as the Sooner head man, it's looking pretty good so far. Hubbard wiggles his way free for the escape.
Once again, the distance is too much. And this will come, right? This is the first match of the season. That's something that just because you've wrestled for as long as Hubbard has doesn't mean that he's going to come in tip-top shape. He's going to need a few matches under his belt to really figure out where his shots will come from, where they're going to be successful.
And it's not like he's wrestling a freshman with no experience. You're wrestling a redshirt senior out of the Big Ten, the Premier Conference. And he looks experienced. Carlson does. Up by 5, a minute to go. In on the double again, and the three-point takedown.
Now you want to see Tracy get out here. Riding time is currently sitting at 58 seconds, so it's going to be over a minute. And Tracy's going to have at least 35 seconds to get something to erase this major decision, because right now, with that riding time being a factor, it's going to be 11-2. And bonus points are the biggest things that separate the good from the great.
We've seen 2 bonus point victories, one for Central Michigan, Johnny Lovett with the major decision. And we saw the tech fall for the Sooners. Granby roll again. Nice work there, gets Hubbard free. Kelzer was the tech fall winner for the Sooners. 15 seconds to go. Hubbard looking to try and get a late takedown to erase what would be a major decision with the riding time point. And it's just not going to happen. Impressive match from Cale Carlson. to get the Sooners back in front. So a major decision win for the transfer from Minnesota, and the Sooners extend their lead. We'll be right back to Mount Pleasant right after this.
Actually, that is up in the Michigan State wrestling room. And
Wow.
My parents were in town last weekend, and they finally got to see it. So I was talking to my dad. I think that was probably, in my career, my most memorable moment.
You gave them the lead against Michigan. I know the Wolverines, I think, came back to win, but that was a big moment for you. You still have those size biceps?
A little bigger now.
Good
that was
answer.
25. Bulked up since then.
Yes, indeed. Great stuff by our production crew putting that together. We're happy to have Eric with us. Opening night here in Mount Pleasant. This is a good one, Eric. We've been excited for 174 all night long between these two guys ranked. Picklo, Kramer, guys that have tremendous accolades. Tate Picklo coming in 13th, 21 victories last year. And on the other side, Alex Kramer, the returning MAC champ for the Chippewas.
You had me nervous about that the entire duel. I thought it was going to be something different than that.
In on a leg here for Picklo. And he gets the kick down and the two. Well, we put the picture up of you at Michigan State. The Picklos know something about Michigan State wrestling, right?
His father, Brian Piccolo, was multiple-time All-American for the Michigan State Spartans back in the day. And I'm not sure if the Spartans recruited him. I imagine they did.
And he also, Dad Brian, the coach of the high school that Tate attended in Oklahoma, Mustang. And right now he's having his way here against Kramer, looking for potentially another one. Already up with the takedown early. Minutes to go.
Tried to look for that foot sweep. What's impressed me so far about these Sooners is their efficiency on their shots. When they get to a leg, they finish. And it's critical because they're not wasting energy fighting down there. They're picking up points, putting points on the board, and they're building confidence throughout the match.
Kramer now coming in. He's got the torso wrapped up, and he does get the takedown. That's a big body, though. Picklo gets free. Hard to bring that man down.
That had big move potential right there. Double underhooks, both arms locked. I was expecting to see a throw there.
Instead, no throw, and it's 4-4. That was an exciting first period. Takedown for each guy, escape for each guy. Here it is again. Lifted him up off the feet, but that was as far as he was getting.
Like I said, rather than just wasting energy, it's smart just to let go. You don't want to give up a stall call too early in the match, especially in a tie bout. Those stall calls are critical.
And the escape point once more. So Picklo back in front. Again, you look at the team score and think Central Michigan-wise, you talked about it, kind of the heavier matchups here favoring Oklahoma. So in the ranked matchup, Chippewas are hoping that Kramer can find a way here.
And this is going to be close to a takedown here, and you're going to see the brick come in.
And the officials, once they separate themselves, call it.
They don't have the brick. They've already used the brick.
Yeah, they already used it, and it was not a successful challenge. So are the officials, it looks like they are going to let them use it. So taking a peek here to see if that was a takedown on Kramer. Eric, what do you think here?
It was, I mean, in real time, it's as close as it gets. This is one of those 51-49 situations. I could see it going either way. I said it was a takedown before, and it wasn't. So I'm going to go with yes.
That didn't sound too confident,
I'm not too confident in that.
Well, we'll wait and see here if there's another one. Obviously, it's an important one with how tight this match has been so far.
No two. So that's their second challenge, and now they're going to keep the brick.
And we're off and rolling again. So 2 challenges, 0 for 2 for Kish, and yes, doesn't get the brick back.
Beautifully timed.
And Kramer now in on the leg looking for his second takedown, but this is the big body you're trying to work against. A potential cradle here. Kramer trying to turn it, and there he's got it. And now the swipes are on. A big move we thought was coming earlier now comes here. 4 swipes have been put down by the official. Kramer trying to finish this off. This crowd would lose their mind.
Kramer has to slow down here. That grip. Look, he's trying to get that left leg over. If he gets that left leg over, I think it's over. But Piccolo doing a great job of fighting. 18 seconds left.
Kramer's last couple of lunges here, trying to get both shoulders mat side. 5 seconds to go. No pin, but a huge move for Kramer. And he gets the back points up on the board, is in front by 6. Riding time now up over a minute for the Chippewa.
And now Kramer, I'll tell you what, his forearms and his biceps are on fire right now.
You can see the breathing. He just worked so hard, and now he's got to work hard again to try and get up on top.
I'm okay with him taking some time to recover here. You have the lead. You build a solid base. Take some time to yourself. Collect your thoughts. Get that blood flowing.
I was about to say, if you're Piccolo, when do you consider letting him go? Because he had the successful takedown. There he does. And you would imagine you want to let him go now while he is a little tired after that big move. 90 seconds to go. Kramer circling again. It's a 7-point lead for Kramer, so another takedown could push this to a major decision. You know that's got to be on the mind of Piccolo as well.
Look at that head position. Going right in the left ear, which is creating some separation. Not a lot, but just enough to keep Piccolo off that single leg. Now Kramer, once again, has to circle either to his right or to his left to get back to the center of the mat.
Is there another takedown left in this bout? Get a stalling call and a warning on Kramer. He's trying to free that right leg and circle.
And this is great position for Kramer to continue to work and pick up another takedown.
Yeah, just 2 worn down as Piccolo. And now it's a 10-point lead, and that riding time is building back up to 50 seconds. It could go over a minute here before we're done. A big-time cradle for Kramer. And he gets a major decision victory here and a ranked win to open up the year.
Big win. Heck of a performance.
The Mount Pleasant crowd loved it. This was the move, and the Chippewas get the major decision. For Central Michigan and Oklahoma. This one's been all right, hasn't it?
It's been exciting. What a way to kick off the year.
We are having a blast up here. Adam Jacksa, Eric Olenowski, and at 184, the Chippewas will continue with Cody Brenner. They're trying to get the eligibility waiver cleared for Adrian Kramer. It's the brother of Alex who just won, but they haven't had it yet, so they throw out Brenner, the redshirt sophomore. Tom Borelli likes what he can do. And this is a familiar name here in the Mid-American Conference. Giuseppe Hughes, a transfer from Buffalo.
Yeah, and he's a guy you can't shoot those straight-on shots. As Borelli said, you have to get to the corner and don't stay north and south on these guys, similar to 125, because he has some heavy hips. Beautiful.
Swinging around here, Brenner trying to get on the board. Well defended.
Look at those hips.
Great strength.
Central Michigan, though, has been getting to those high crotches. That's something they have to work on every day of practice because it has been seamless. Just the transition from the tie right to the high crotch. That's been impressive all night.
And the Chippewas, again, have done a really good job early on in period one. Chippewa fans want a stalling call. They don't get it.
And that's the definition of the rule right there. You had Hoos circle to the out-of-bounds line. Brenner shot him out of bounds, and they called it action.
I don't know if we've seen a stalling on Oklahoma tonight. It's been predominantly Central Michigan that have been tagged with them. There's a go behind there, and no takedown yet. He's got to get him to the mat. Wow, Brenner just shucks him off there and goes back in himself. How about the defense that we've seen from both guys in this first period?
Defensive battle. Never thought we'd say
struggle, yeah.
An exciting defensive battle, not something you hear too often.
Final 20 seconds to go with as much action as we've seen. Wild to think that nobody has cracked the board yet. Do we have late points? Yes, we do. What a move there. And Hoos gets on the board, and he's going to finish up 3-0. Great job there. Both guys had an opportunity to score, but it's Hoos right here at the end, quickly wrapping around here for the three.
A lot of energy expended on the part of Brenner in that period. Trying to get to that shot, then coming up with the big lift, and then fighting off two shots. And finally, you saw the conditioning come into factor late in that first period.
One more point up on the board for Hoos as he gets the escape.
Once again, this is that Iowa style. When you look at what Hoos is doing here, it's all the weight on the back of the head. And it doesn't look like a lot, right? You're just holding the head, but when you're carrying the weight all through your head, because that's where the pressure is at this point. So it's not only carrying the head, you're trying to pick it up as well. So you're using your legs, you're using your lower back. And Hoos is doing a great job of making sure that he is making Brenner carry his weight. And, I mean, it's just transitioning to offense.
Who's trying to swing around again, circling on the mat. Brenner fighting what he can, but who's continuing to push forward here. And there's the takedown. Well done by Hughes, continuing to move it forward, circle, and gets the 7-0 advantage here. And again, he's looking to finish on top at the end of a period. Always been important to finish on top and get some late points, but especially this year with that extra 3 points. I mean, that's a big discrepancy from 3-0 to 3-1 as opposed to the 2-0 to 2-1. That extra point can matter, especially if you're trying to get another bonus point victory, which all these guys would love to get.
Looking over at Roger Kish, saying watch the roll. But how long does Hughes keep Brenner down?
Well, the riding time right now not a factor. It's sitting at 13 seconds. So, you know, he would love to increase that up. But he's had success with the takedowns. So Brenner gets on the board. Hoos will try and go back to work and look for a 4-point win. In on the leg once more. Brenner trying to flatten out here.
Look at the splits. There's a 184-pounder doing the splits. This is some 125 wrestling right here.
Flexibility up here at the big weight classes. Give them their due, 125er. What a battle here from Brenner, trying to earn the stalemate. Who's trying to continue pushing forward?
And Hughes has to take that, put it on his left hip. Finish your shot there. Take the heel, put it on your left hip, and work to your finish. But Brenner doing a good job of negating that offense, coming back up to their feet. Still in good shape to erase the major.
55 seconds to go. It's going to take another takedown from Hughes. 21-9 last year at Buffalo, 14-6. Brenner now in on the shot, but here's the circle. And this is how the takedowns have come. And there it is, another one. So a 9-point advantage. Lets him go, and it sits at 8. Does Brenner have any energy left here to try and get a shot and get it successfully? Hoos again going to work, wrapping around and finishing on top. All 3 periods, Hoos on top at the end. That's how you win a match right there. So the Chippewas get some momentum, and the Sooners continue to answer back. A major decision for the transfer from Buffalo, Giuseppe Hughes. We'll be right back as we head to 197 right after this in Mount Pleasant. 8 bouts down, 2 to go here in the opener in Mount Pleasant between Central Michigan and Oklahoma. And so far, the Sooners have the edge so far. Stephen Buchanan, another transfer for the Sooners coming over from Wyoming. He's a good one, a 3-time NCAA qualifier, 2-time All-American. It's a 3rd-place finish for him at the NCAAs in 2022, and he was the Big 12 champ. Sooners happy to have him a part of the program. He redshirted last year. On the other side, it's Cam Wood, the redshirt sophomore from PA. We talked with Tom Borelli, said he may have had the best summer of anyone in their program, but he is facing an athletic specimen in Buchanan, who gets the first takedown.
Curious to see which Buchanan we were going to see. Of course, wrestling with Roger Kish, I'm sure, as much as he can. Usually he's a patient guy. Doesn't like to score a lot of points. kind of picks his spots, but you're seeing here coming out not like we've ever seen.
You think about all these transfers and trying to build a program. If you're a guy looking to go wrestle for somebody in the heavier weights, you would think about wrestling for Kish, right? I mean, he had so much success at 184 at Minnesota. They've had so much heavyweight success there. And that's kind of how this Oklahoma team is stacked. They're better weight classes at the top.
Just to have the opportunity to roll with these guys would be something people would be licking their chops for. You got Coach Marsden as well, the heavyweight coach. And then Tion Ware, of course, NCAA champion for the Oklahoma Sooners. I still remember I was in St. Louis, Missouri, and it was Tion Ware versus Daniel Frischkorn of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And he had to come back in order to win his NCAA title, and he did so. And that match sticks out to me 20 years later.
You beat your rival school to win a national championship, and you do it from coming behind. You're never going to forget that one. And everybody in the crowd, everyone watching that one, won't forget that one. And the Sooners trying to get back to the top. I mean, you think about all their history. 5th most team titles with 7. But it's been a while. You got to go back to 1974, the last time the Sooners won a championship. 70s, the 60s, 50s, and their first one came in 1936. So they would love to get back on the top of the sport, but you got to win your own state first.
As I mentioned earlier, it's going to be tough, especially with that the new facility coming at Oklahoma State. They're going to have to compete, but they understand that.
John Smith can't coach there forever, can he?
Some say he can. But when you bring in Coleman Scott, it kind of, with Esposito leaving, I'll hold that thought until after this period.
And that first period goes to Buchanan with that takedown. Riding time up over 125.
But you don't bring in Coleman Scott, and Zach Esposito doesn't leave unless he knows that he's not going to get that head coaching position. When you bring in Coleman Scott, the writing's on the wall there at Oklahoma State. So this is more of a transition period than anything else. But I'm sure they've been saying that about Tom Izzo for how many years, right?
That's right. And I'm sure they've been saying that same thing about Tom Borelli up here. 30-plus years. Cam Wood trying to find a way up here, 140 to go, and now some back points, and the count is on. 4-point count right now, and Buchanan flips him back over. A 19-11 lead. The Chippewas, if they had any chance to come back, they needed to get this one. But you're running into a top guy in Buchanan that has just been so good in his time at the collegiate level. Last time he competed in 2022, he lost just 3 matches on his way to that third-place finish. Won the Big 12, as mentioned, the year before, too. Another All-American. He finished 8th.
And he's been in some battles. You think back to his time against A.J. Ferrari or Jacob Warner, and he's been in high-level matches, and the experience is something that everyone chases. To get in the NCAA semifinals, to be on that big stage when they start to remove the mats from the NCAA championships, it adds something to your wrestling that you can't get from the room.
That's different just getting there for the first time, but then to advance, to pick up some wins, and as you mentioned, get on that big stage at the end with everybody watching, you and one other during the semifinals. That's part of the mental game that comes with this.
And Coach Borelli talked about that earlier with us, talking about believing when you get to the NCAA championships, if you haven't been there, how do you convince your athletes that they do belong there?
Five minutes in the books. Stephen Buchanan with an 8-point advantage. The riding time is up over 3 minutes. It's a tough start to the season for Cam Wood, facing Buchanan, who had to sit out, wait a year, and even more amped up and ready to go. Wood will start on top here for period 3. One tech fall in the books for Oklahoma. They're looking for another one here at 197.
Yeah, he's more aggressive than we've ever seen him. There's a change in demeanor for Buchanan. Usually, like I said, you look at some of the losses that he had, and they were very few, but some of the losses, I remember it was North Dakota State a few years ago where he ended up getting pinned in a cradle, and you're just wondering, how could this happen? You know what he's capable of doing, but it was just he was so comfortable in wrestling in those close matches that it became a habit. And for him to reach that next level, what did he have to do was break the habit of wrestling in those close matches, and we're seeing that here. Going out, being aggressive, looking to score, put points on the board.
That's what they say, right? You don't know what you have till it's gone. You sit out for a year, that hunger grows. You're in that room for so long, working, and finally you get your opportunity. And right now, Stephen Buchanan looks like he's on a mission. Only match one, but he is up by 14, and now looking to close this thing out, and he is going to do it. Won't need to wait for the riding time point as he secures 4 more back points. Once he flips him over, this thing's going to be done. Another tech fall for the Sooners. 5 more points up on the board, and that's going to secure them a dual win here with just 1 bout to go. So an impressive. All right, we're underway. It's our final bout of the day at heavyweight. Josh Heinzelman and Brian Caves. For more, let's go to Nathan Arbaugh.
Thanks, guys. Josh Heinzelman, 3rd time All-American. 2019 Oklahoma Wrestler of the Year. He looks to make great campaign here against the top MAC heavyweight. We'll take it back to you guys for more coverage.
Yeah, this is a really good, sneaky good match because Caves had a great finish to his season last year. Won 10 of his last 13, finished 3rd at the MAC championships. He's not ranked. Seems like he's on the cusp. And then you get a ranked matchup in Heinzelman right away, the redshirt senior.
Doesn't mean anything, but these guys wrestled in the first match last year as well. Opened the season against each other, but when you look at Caves, right now he's about 240 pounds. Coach Borelli said he wants him around 250, which would be 25 pounds more than where he was last year, wrestling at 225 against these 285-pound heavyweights.
Right now in on a leg is Heinzelman. Caves trying to wrap it up, and there's the takedown for Heinzelman. It's amazing, 15 more pounds put on of muscle for Caves. And even with him being a little bit undersized last year, he still went 25-13. Heinzelman, the 3-time NCAA qualifier, 23, 22, and 21. And he's placed 3 different times. He's a 2-time Oklahoma State champ. And that experience, 4th year in the lineup at heavyweight. That's a great way to end your lineup if you're head coach Brandon Kish, or Roger Kish, rather.
Same call. I like it. It's consistent. They called it earlier over to our left-hand side, and that's what you want to see. If you're going to make those calls, they might as well be consistent, and that's what they are.
Stalling's a big part of wrestling. The call, getting it correct, or what the fans think are correct. That's what they get most amped up about. Caves gets the escape here. And another shot here on the leg, and a potential cradle wrap up here. That's a big body to flip over, but there it is on the backside, and Caves trying to stay alive here. And he's able to wiggle out of it, and off the mat they go, but back points on the board for Heinzelman with the cradle.
With these new rules, you think a few years ago, 2-point takedown, 3-point near fall, this would be a completely different match.
I know, you look at the moves right now, and this match seems like it's over. I mean, it's 10-1 in the blink of an eye. And we've still got 4.5 minutes to go. But that's part of it, rewarding the aggressive wrestler that goes out and tries to score. And the better wrestler has the advantage. And you wonder when you get to the NCAA tournament if that limits some of the upsets that maybe we see because it plays to the advantage of the better wrestler.
Yeah, at what point does it just turn into freestyle wrestling? Why do you need top-bottom? Most of these guys who are good on their feet are only going to be focused on getting takedowns.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it takes away a little bit from that top-bottom position where you still want to be good in all three. As you take a look at how good the Big 12 is expected to be this year. Look at all these teams that are in the top 30. I mean, the Chippewas know all about the Tigers who came in. They dominated the Mid-American Conference. They go back to the Big 12. We're up here in the Midwest. We talk a lot about the Big 10 because it's a great conference, but they've got some good wrestling down there in the Big 12 as well.
They do, and Brian Smith in particular with Missouri. That's actually where my brother wrestled at the University of Missouri under Coach Brian Smith, and since the early 2000s, he has done a tremendous job of building that program. Another Michigan State guy.
That's right, Tiger style. He's had a national champ recently.
Keegan O'Toole also just won the U23 World Championships in Trnava, or excuse me, in Albania, in Tirana. So now has an NCAA title and a world title under his belt. 2 world titles.
Pretty remarkable.
It's going to be interesting to see that 74-kilo bracket. Jordan Burroughs, who just went to Kazakhstan last week, ended up picking up a gold medal, but it'll be Dake, it'll be Keegan O'Toole, and Jordan Burroughs, amongst many others, vying for that Paris Olympic spot.
The best at what they do, some big-time names. 30 seconds to go here. And another shot taken by Heinzelman. He just continues to push it forward here.
Beautiful high-level attack. Didn't even touch his knee.
I mean, you're looking back at this performance we've seen tonight from the Sooners. You give credit to the Chippewas for getting a couple of wins, but the Sooners, start to finish, they have been extraordinary here in their opening match under the first-year head coach.
But for the Chippewas, a lot to build on. We talked about the first period. Coming out firing, and that's what you want to see. You don't want to see hesitancy. So Coach Borelli has these guys coming out firing, but it's how do you close out matches? We always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So what do they do over the next... Some of these guys will be at the Michigan State Open, so for the next few days, how do you flip that script?
Then it turns into the next few months. And Coach Borelli teams are always wrestling great in March. I mean, they started 0-5 in duels last year. They finished 6-10. They win the MAC West. I mean, Coach Borelli's going to give it to you straight. And at one point early on in the season, he looked at his assistants and said, guys, I don't know if we're going to win a dual meet. They won the MAC West for a second straight year. And his teams, they know how to get in shape, get better. He's got a ton of experience, obviously 30-plus years. And there's some talent on this Chippewa roster, no doubt.
But that's why he's here. And that's his job, is to find the mistakes. You don't want these guys peaking right now. You want to peak at the right time, and that is why he has been here for 30-plus years, is because he has the ability to get these guys to peak at the right time. I'm sure he's not going to be happy with this duel, but he's not going to lose sleep over it. He's going to wake up tomorrow with the same passion that he had today and figure out how to make those minor adjustments to move forward and get them back to the top of the MAC Conference.
Minute to go in this one. An impressive display right here at heavyweight by Josh Heinzelman, up 17-4. And it looks like we got a headgear penalty there from Cave, so an extra point up there for Heinzelman to make it 18-4. Again, Oklahoma has come up for the last several years to participate in the MSU Open. Tom Borelli said, hey, let's see if we can get you guys up here right before. It worked out, and he knows head coach Roger Kish very well. He talked about recruiting him, and Kish, he said, hey, he was down to CMU in Minnesota, thought we were going to get him. He goes to Minnesota, and they won a couple of team titles. He was an All-American a couple of times, did pretty well for himself, but he was a great wrestler at Lapeer, 4 state titles. That's going to wrap this one up, though. What an impressive display by his squad tonight.
Coach Borelli did say, I think he made the right choice.
Tom Borelli always humble. What a win tonight for Oklahoma. Coming up here, that's a long trip from Norman, and they came up ready to go and take down the Chippewas night one.
I'm not sure what that was. He keeps pulling his face to the Central Michigan squad. I don't know, but at the end of the day, yeah, Oklahoma looked great. Central Michigan has a few things to work on. Overall, came out firing. Second and third period proved to be an issue, but Oklahoma, Norman.
29-11. And the
तुहर गौराया दत्त गौरा कहाला पोतिया ना सुनेलू तू सुनेलू जीत पर तू रहेलू बड़ा गति बाटे ना बोलेलू और जी को के बर्बादी अब गइनी हम हार असरी बद देवे चल के बा बंदे के
Sunday.
तो ठंडे के बाटे फलल आइल बाटे तो मंडे के भंगिया तो है सिर्फ संडे के अब करे हमारे इंतजार किसन संडे के
रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो सिमरा।